With more shows and platforms to watch them on than ever, it's a great time to be a TV lover. But when more is more, budgets are getting big and bigger. Senior TV editor Mike Schneider has a story about this in the new issue of Variety. Mike, good to have you.
Absolutely.
All right, so how big are these budgets getting?
These are big dollar bills. We're talking $25 million an episode in some cases. I mean, the kind of money that we haven't seen in TV for the most part in the past. Now it's becoming the norm.
Why are these shows getting so expensive?
Well, we're living in a streaming era now, so you've got Apple TV coming, you got Disney TV coming, you've got HBO Max, all these different services, they all want to make a huge splash. So to do so, you have to bring in some huge stars, Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, for example, on the morning show.
What you guys never seem to realize is that you don't have the power anymore. And frankly, I've let you bozos handle this long enough. We are doing this my way.
And you want to really create these cinematic quality shows. Those aren't cheap. You want to get the best talent out there, both from starring in these shows, but also producing them. And with them comes an entire factory of, they have their own handlers. They have people that need to be involved in these shows as well. So it all starts to add up, and then you get below the line, and you want the best cinematographers. You want, really the show to look great. So locations are pretty expensive. Some effects that you do have to add in, even on shows that don't look like they have effects.
Sure. In this story, was there a show whose budget just really floored you?
Well, I think what's interesting is you have these shows that don't have huge effects and don't necessarily have A-list stars, but have sort of up-and-coming stars. A good example is Euphoria. Got a lot of buzz, but HBO, because they really wanted the show and they really wanted it cinematic, not cheap either. So around $11 million an episode, which again, in this day and age, sounds like a lot, but that's sort of becoming the norm.
At some point, you make a choice about who you are. Hey, I'm Rue. I'm an addict.
Is there an upside to having such expensive productions?
Well, if you're a viewer, the upside is these shows look amazing. They've got great stars. You want that kind of talent. There's awards recognition, and some of these services, it's really about the awards. Also, you want to make noise. And I think also you're starting to see new talent rise from these shows. And so talent begets talent, and hopefully the investment that the streamers are making right now will lead to other great shows down the road.
But just because you put down a lot of money for a show doesn't mean that it's going to be successful.
No. A good example is The Get Down, and it was Baz Luhrmann. The music was great. It looked wonderful. The effects, again, it wasn't like huge sci-fi effects, but they really did a good job with the visuals, the music. It wasn't a cheap show. That was also around $11-12 million an episode. But it kind of landed with a thud. Critics enjoyed the first season, but there just wasn't a lot of buzz and a lot of attention on that show, so it eventually went away. Netflix can afford to make these kind of huge bets. Not all of them are going to succeed, but when you're living in an age of all these shows, not all of them are going to work, and you're going to have some really expensive failures.
Did you get a sense that there is a tipping point, or are budgets going to just keep ballooning?
Well, right now there's no tipping point, but a lot of these services aren't online yet. So we'll see what the reaction is when Apple TV Plus launches, when Disney Plus launches, HBO Max, Peacock, and within the first couple of years, what's working, what's not working. And do these conglomerates do an adjustment? Do they look at the bottom line and say, we cannot sustain this amount of production or this level of production? So I think we're going to see it in a couple of years, but for now, sky's still the limit.
And what does this mean for audiences? What does this mean for fellow TV lovers?
Honestly, we're going to have a lot of great high-quality cinematic television in the coming months and years. Not a bad thing. So again, if you're a fan of television, you're a fan of great storytelling that really looks solid on screen, you're in for a treat. There's going to be some really expensive projects coming to your small screen, ironically to your little phone or to your iPad in the coming months.
Will we ever get a Game of Thrones level show ever again.
Amazon has the rights to the Lord of the Rings franchise.
Yes.
They spent upwards of $250 million just for the rights to that. So they're not going to skimp when it comes to the cost of making sure these shows look great and hopefully have some sort of buzz and long life.
Yeah.
So that could be, and that's what Amazon hopes is the next Game of Thrones.
Mike, great work as always. And for more on the ballooning costs of TV shows, be sure to pick up this week's issue of Variety.